right, fight fans, here we go. Now in the ring, the 3 rounds of mixed martial arts for the vacant All-Star Boxing Amateur Light Heavyweight Championship title belt. Once again, our referee in charge of this bout, Stephen Davis. And now, introducing to you first on my right, fighting out of the blue corner, he is wearing black trunks, trimmed in white. He is training out of Team Champ Crew in Bell Gardens. Also, MMAFC in Whittier by way of Bell Gardens, California. He weighed in 203 pounds. He brings to the ring an undefeated record, 4 wins with no losses. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing former U.S. Marine Barack the Boss Golz! His opponent across the ring on my left, fighting out of the red corner, he is wearing camouflage trunks, trimmed in red. He is training out of Pippin Fight Team Academy in Upland by way of Rancho Cucamonga. He weighed in 202 pounds. His record, 5 wins with only 1 defeat. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Golz! All right, fans, here we go. 3 rounds of mixed martial arts for the vacant All-Star Boxing Amateur Light Heavyweight Championship title.
Well, this crowd is pumped and ready. Jeff Tolcher, Chris Golz, a lot of fans in attendance. Little edge on the experience, 5-1, but Brock Cromes, the boss, at 2-0, and he looks ready to rumble.
And there was a little talking as they were being introduced. They were both calling each other out, so we expect a spirited fight.
Naked chokehold briefly by Combs. Now he has Golz with a naked choke, and Combs is out, disengaged briefly. Combs with a full mount on Golz. And they're against the corner. Meanwhile, referee Steve Davis evaluating the location of these 2 fighters at the moment.
Now he's watching for Golz to go too far out of the ring. And I think now he's stopping the 2 temporarily, and a timeout's going to be called.
So the fighters disengage. They'll go to the center of the ring and reclaim their previous positions. Full mount by Combs in the blue. He's known as the boss. Brings in a record of 2-0. Chris Golz with the experience, 5 wins, 1 loss. Both fighters evenly matched, and once again they skate to the far corner. And Steve Davis is going to have to call time again. And Jeff Tolcher, the back of Chris Golz, more or less a bobsled as they skated halfway across the ring.
Yeah, not sure what Combs is trying to do there, but he's in an obviously dominant position. How they're going to reassume where they broke him up in the corner.
They re-engage. And Golz trying to get a scissor lock around the neck of Brock Combs. Combs disengages and once again trying to get the full mount. And once again Golz trying to get the scissor lock. The triangle chokehold. And no can do.
Well, the strength of Combs too, fighting out of that leg lock. You know, sometimes even in a defensive position, you're down to the canvas. That leg lock, along with a chokehold, can be lethal.
Both these fighters evenly matched in weight, with Combs at 203, Golz at 202. Combs now a half mount as we got 10 seconds left in round number 1, scheduled for 3. One round in the books.
Well, Combs might have had a slight advantage in that first round just because he was in the dominant position. But you saw the strength of Golz being able to roll out of that submissive position and get on top right at the end of round number 1.
Submissive position indeed.
Right on cue.
3 rounds, light heavyweights. Chris Golz in the red. You're looking at Brock the Boss Combs, undefeated at 2-0. Chris Golz, meanwhile, a little more in the experience area at 5-1 out of Rancho Cucamonga. Brock Combs fighting out of Whittier. Team Champ Crew.
What's interesting about this fight, this is actually an amateur fight, but there's a title belt involved. The All-Star Boxing title or the All-Star MMA title belt.
Combination thrown by Brock Combs did some damage on Chris Golz, and now Golz takes Combs down. And a half mount by Golz. Moving to a full mount on top of Brock Combs. And Golz right now will attempt the ground and pound. Meanwhile, Combs has attempted unsuccessfully a triangle choke on a couple of occasions. And Golz has been able to disengage and battle his way out.
And this is the opposite position we saw these two fighters in round 1. It was Golz on the bottom and Combs on top. Now they reverse form.
A right hand to the head of Brock Combs. Combs with the left ankle on the chin, and now over the neck of Golz, and trying to get him in once again in the triangle. Chokehold with the legs, but nothing doing for Chris Golz.
He's got him in an arm lock, and then Golz rolls out of it. These two just jockeying for position.
It looked like Brock Combs was briefly going for an armbar. And now a right hand strike to the head. Multiple strikes to the head coming from Chris Golz on Brock Combs. And a reversal takedown. And now it's Combs on top.
He's got him in a chokehold too with his left arm.
End of round number 2. Great action in this bout here tonight.
And a really close fight after 2 rounds. Maybe a slight advantage to Golz in that round just because he was in the more dominant position. But these two fighters are pretty evenly matched. So this 3rd and final round is going to dictate who wins this one.
Of course, you can't have mixed martial arts or professional boxing without the Budweiser Ring Girls in attendance tonight. We are at the Commerce Casino, the world's largest poker casino. In Commerce, California, Fred Salas alongside Jeff Tolcher. You're looking at Brock the Boss Combs. The opposite corner, Chris Golz with a 5-1 record. Refusing to take a seat during the 2nd and 3rd round. We'll see if it pays dividends here.
Go the 3rd and final round.
And Brock Combs coming back to his corner. I need my mouthpiece, guys. Put it in. Couple of good sports. Again, the amateur level. The difference between MMA and boxing is no head protection in the MMA. When you get hit, it hurts. Both fighters, Combs in the blue, Golz in the red, toe-to-toe right now. Combination and a slip. That was a slip, but Combs on the short end of the stick as Golz is trying to capitalize now. Throwing multiple strikes to the head. Combs trying to recover. He slipped, but Golz capitalized by jumping on top and getting a full mount and throwing multiple strikes to the head of Brock Combs.
And Combs looks dazed too. The official checking the eyes of the fighter. Might be ready to step in to end this one.
Steve Davis on top of the action, our referee in charge. Combs has taken multiple strikes to the head. Referee Steve Davis evaluating. Half mount by Golz.
Holmes just looks like he's out of gas. He's trying to find anything, any kind of energy at all in this third and final round to fend off Golz.
And perhaps a little daze is once again Chris Golz on top. The half mount, multiple strikes to the head. And if it ends this way, I'd have to say Golz has the advantage. He has thrown a lot more punches in this third round than in any other round to the head of Brock Holmes.
And it's a shame that the round started with a slip by Combs, and he's pretty much been on the canvas the entire third round.
Clearly Combs trying to gather himself. He has not fought back. He's holding on, 10 seconds. Body shots by the man in red, Chris Golz, to the rib section of Brock Holmes, and that may do it. It'll go to the cards.
And good sports on both sides. You saw them kind of hug at the start of the third round. You see them raising each other's arm at the end of this third round. Great sportsmanship on both sides.
Our officials ringside, longtime professional referee and judge Marty Denkins. Jack Reese, longtime State Athletic Commission referee and official. The only female to ever be inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame, Gwen Adair, and Mark Zacharias, all top-seated officials with the California State Athletic Commission. Steve Davis, our referee in charge, will have no decision, will not be judging the bout, but he was on top of the action. Great crowd here at the Commerce Casino. You look at Ed Holmes, on the right side of your picture. He is the promoter for All-Star Promotions and All-Star Boxing. Presentation of All In live boxing and mixed martial arts from the Crown Plaza Commerce Casino here in Commerce, California.
Because before the start of this fight, there was a little good-natured taunting between the two fighters, as they were both kind of gesturing toward each other as to say, come on, let's get it on. Great to see that at the end of the fight.
Now Chris Golz may indeed improve his record to 6-1. We'll see how the judges see it as we are almost set to go down to our official announcement from our ring announcer, Jim Fitzgerald. Take it away, Jimmy.
Ladies and gentlemen, now in the ring to present our winner with his championship belt, please welcome Big John McCarthy. Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, we go to the scorecards. But before we do, let's give both fighters another big round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, I have the official score. We have a split decision. Judge at ringside, Mike Bell, scores about 29-28 in favor of Golz. Judge at ringside, Jack Reese, scores about 29-28 in favor of Golz. And judge at ringside, Marty Denkins, scores about 29-28 in favor of our winner. He is the new All-Star Boxing Amateur Light Heavyweight Champion, the red corner, Chris Golz!
Chris Golz, the winner, and it was that really, in my opinion, that third round that was the significant difference.
And you could certainly see how close this fight was, it being a split decision, 2 of the 3 judges having the winner, Chris Golz.